Madam Chairperson Dana Gamblin, Board Member Mr. Gundelsberger,
Here.
Walt Matthews,
Here.
Sharon Johnson, Janice Warner,
Here.
Don Sharaf,
Here.
Margaret Bowers C.
Okay, we'll move on to approval of the last meeting's minutes. If I can have a motion.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
You got a motion first.
It passes.
Okay. The approval of the minutes.
Oh,
Oh, we did, I'm sorry.
we just moved on to.
Okay, so we have a presentation from Debbie Eversole with Community Development for repair assistance.
Where you have it, though? Here.
It's right here.
Oh, right there.
Good afternoon, and thank you for allowing me this time during your board meeting. My name is Debbie Eversole, and I am the Housing Development Specialist within the Department of Community Development. And one of my roles in this department is administering the Housing Development and Beautification Program. And listening to some of the meetings recently, we know that there is a need to assist in code violations, and I did want to just express to the board that this program does include helping people with code violations, whether they are investment properties or homeowners, mostly through the exterior repair program. A portion of these eligible projects can be paid for through the city. The maximum is $3,000 through the city, but generally it is a 50-50 match. Let's go to the next one. So the intent of the program is to aid in the redevelopment and beautification of existing housing units. These efforts will preserve in the quality and condition of existing housing stock, address major physical needs and code violations, and increase property values and spur additional private investment. Most code violations can utilize the program by applying for exterior repair program. Some eligible projects through this program include the physical construction cost of visibly facing the main public right-of-way and exclusively for exterior improvements to the home, including but not limited to porches and steps to the front entrance of the home, siding, windows and doors, roofs, and paint. Demolition is included, but not limited to the dwelling. This can include any dilapidated structure on the property, dead tree or overgrown shrub removal from the front of the house, fence removal. This must be on the front or the side of the house. Fences to the rear of the property are generally not eligible. Driveway installation must be at the front of the house. Driveway repairs are not eligible, however. Sidewalk installation or repair, and this includes boulevards or walkways to the front entrance of the home. The funding for 2023 includes $300,000 for the improvement programs. While the program itself will remain the same in many ways, what we intend to do is reserve a portion of the improvement funding, particularly for homeowners with code violations. To give a better explanation of this, the grant applications come in so quickly that we generally get enough applications to commit the full budget within like 3 weeks or, maybe even a month. So all those people that in the springtime are getting their inspections and have code violations, they're too late for the program. So what we've committed to do is save some money for a later date. This would be for homeowners only. Investment properties are still welcome to apply. However, they will be within the whole group of people. Let's see. I think that's the last of that part. Approved applications. We have approved 81 applications since the program started in 2016. I've got a couple examples here. This was in 2022, 1511 Barker. This was an investment property, a rental. This was cited for paint chipping, I guess, or, it needed paint. So we assisted them, and they were able to get their whole house painted. In 1926 Wilson Street, they chose a different route, and they chose to go with siding. But regardless, it definitely removed that code violation and made a definite improvement to that neighborhood and that appearance of that house. So what people can do now is visit www.cityofsandusky.com/housing for upcoming information on the 2023 applications. Applications are anticipated to be available February 6th, 2022, and those can be emailed out to people or mailed out to people or picked up in the lobby, but when available. We won't have them out any sooner. What you can do now also is get your estimates ready because we will not receive any applications or process any applications without the estimates. So in conclusion, if anyone has any questions in the meantime, they're more than welcome to contact me via email, deversol@cityofsandusky.com, or my phone number is 419-627-5832. And that's really all I had because I really didn't want to take up too much of your time, but I did think it was important that everybody knew that this program was available for this code violations.
Okay, thank you very
Board
much.
have any questions or?
Yeah, I do, if
Sure.
I could. I got a question for you. Is DIY, do-it-yourself, available for this funding?
Absolutely.
Can a homeowner go in there and say, I need X dollars for paint? And then how do we check that if it does?
I don't want to say it's a little trickier, but if they can get their own estimates by just going onto a home improvement website maybe, or costing out what it's going to cost, they give that to me and I can estimate how much we would be able to give them. So this is a reimbursement program. The whole thing has to be done, approved, and,
And
done
inspect it, we
before
inspect
they
it, and then we provide the
get
funds?
their money.
Okay.
So they would give me the estimates of what they can see it's going to cost.
Do we have any income limits for the people that make applications?
Limits and no minimum improvement cost.
Okay.
Okay?
Last one. How do we get the word out to the citizens?
Well,
How
I'm
do they
trying
know
that
about this
now.
program?
We do have, the Sandusky Register always gives me a good boost because they always say free money in their big headline. But it is free money, but the homeowner does have to put a little investment into it as well. They have to do a 50-50 match. So the Sandusky Register will do a big article. All of our social media will have it out there.
Okay.
I've got this meeting. I will probably announce it at a city commission meeting when it's available. So any media outlets will try to,
Thanks.
and it's on our website as well.
Thank you.
Okay? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Next, we'll have the swearing in of witnesses, any persons willing to give testimony. Because this is an adjudication hearing that is based on facts and not public opinion, therefore, everyone that is going to testify must be sworn in. If you wish to testify, please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
You are sworn in.
Okay, let's move on to old business.
We have case number EN 210405 being recalled. April Riffle is appealing the notice and order of demolition of 809 Hancock Street, Sandusky, Ohio, parcel number 57-03140.000.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
And once again, when you come to the microphone to speak, if you would state your name and your address, please, for the record.
Derek Liska,
and my address is 107 North Main Street, Clyde, Ohio. That's my law firm.
Thank you.
I'm here on behalf of April Riffle. She's here today, and I also have John Pike here as well today.
Great.
And I have additional documentation for this board for consideration today.
Okay.
One thing that was asked for was a financial statement. I only have one copy of it, but my client has been approved for a home line of credit for $57,000 to go towards this project. Should I just hand these guys to you?
Copies, Steve?
I only have one copy of it.
One copies.
Yeah, I think that would be helpful if we had a copy. Excuse me, the amount was?
$57,500, I believe.
Okay.
$57,700. That's through Huntington Bank. I have a assessment of the property from a Brandon Fitt with the Weichert Realtors Morgan Realty Group. He cannot be here today, but it's an appraisal of the property as is, and then after full completion of all improvements. And we have two separate proposals for the structural repairs of the house, both the stairs and then the floor leveling and addressing the wall. And I have copies of that for the board as well, each proposal.
Okay.
Now, rather than have me speak, would you rather just have John come up here so you can ask him some questions?
That'd be good.
John Fike, business address is 224 East Water Street, Sandusky.
Thank you. Okay, I really appreciate you being here. I have quite a few questions, and hopefully you can shed some light on this for me. What is the definition of cosmetic issues as compared to structural issues?
Well, structural issues is foundation, wall structure, roof structure. Cosmetics is more paint and finishes.
Okay, and within these numbers, I have to back up, because at the last meeting, during my addition of numbers, I added up incorrectly. I came up with $88,250, and the combined cost with the demolition included was $95,650. So within the cosmetic issues that are listed here, there's a price tag of $69,600. Can you break that down? What exactly that covers?
For the most part, it's new finishes, new flooring, new wall finishes, new ceiling finishes.
Okay,
There was, I believe in part of that, there was some electrical work and some plumbing work
that's cosmetic?
included on the cosmetic side.
Uh,
They're not structural, it's things, I just broke everything down in between structural items and then everything else.
Okay, so if it wasn't structural, it was something else. Was the air conditioning and heating included somewhere in that $95,650?
No, I have no idea if with what's there works. The water's not on, the electric's not on, the gas is not on, there's no way to tell.
Okay, but if it were determined that nothing works, that's in addition to the number that we know then, right?
That's correct.
Okay. And the same would be true for the roof estimate based on the minutes that we had, $4,350. We didn't know if that was a total roof replacement or just a patch. Do you have any idea?
Don't know what that's for.
If I could interject, we were addressing an initial complaint, and I believe that when John reviewed the property, he didn't actually see an issue with the roof. And that was to do some patch ups on places that were going to be, that appeared to be worn. So that was a separate issue altogether.
Okay. Okay. When you inspected this, there was a problem. You couldn't look at the furnace? Wasn't accessible?
It's not accessible. It's in a closet.
You could, why couldn't you get to it?
Well, I could see it, but again, without being able to turn it on, all I'm doing is looking at a box.
Okay. Okay. I understood that it wasn't accessible at all. The age of this home is lead paint going to be an issue for them?
I don't know. I didn't do any testing for it.
Okay. How about asbestos? Do you see any issues with asbestos in the house?
I didn't see any, no.
Okay. All right. So is the apartment, is it, both apartments, are they set up for kitchens, bathrooms? They have what would be, you believe to be functioning bathrooms and kitchens?
There's kitchens and bathrooms both up and down.
Everything is there?
Yes,
Cupboards, sinks,
that's correct.
yeah, plumbing, everything's there?
That's correct.
Okay. Is it the intention to operate this as 2 units? Mr. Liska?
I do believe that is the case.
2 units, so we're talking about 2 meters, 2 panels, 2 of everything then, correct? 2 hot water tanks, 2 furnaces,
That would be correct.
is that right?
Yep.
Okay. When you were there, did you get a look at the underside of the roof?
The underside of the roof? No.
Yeah. To determine if there was water leakage?
The day I was there, it had rained real hard the day before, and there was no evidence of leaks when I was there.
Yeah, but you didn't see the underside of the roof then?
Well, I saw the ceiling, and there was no evidence of leaks.
What kind of ceiling is it?
It's a hard ceiling.
So that would take some time to leak through if it was,
Based on the rain that was the night before, no. If that roof leaked, it would leak straight through.
oh, okay, all right. And this question is for both you and Mr. Liska. At the last meeting, you were concerned about the method in which the building official determined that the foundation had some issues. In fact, you weren't satisfied with it, and you don't believe that there are issues according to Mr. Fike's statements that the foundation was good. Did you look at the foundation?
Foundation is not observable. The siding on the outside goes all the way to the ground. On the inside, there's a crawl space. There's a hatch in one of the rooms towards the back. Crawl space has got about maybe 12 inches of space into it. It's in the middle of the house. There's no way to see over to the foundation walls.
So if there is an issue with the foundation, I'm just saying if there's an issue, how do you deal with it?
First off, when I went through there to see if there was a foundation issue, I looked to see where there's settlement. Around the perimeter of the house, there's no settlement whatsoever. So it doesn't give me any indication that there's a foundation problem on the perimeter.
Does the fact that we've got what seems to be severe wall settling and a stairway that is settling suggest that there might be a foundation issue?
I don't know that for sure. What we thought was an interior wall, that it was settling in the stairwell, and then in the kitchen upstairs, there was a wall-hung chimney that was hung, and the floor was settled over towards that direction. Again, that was an interior wall. So I don't know what the settlement is until we actually get into the work. My best guess is that it's some wood that is deteriorated to some point, that it's allowed the wall to settle.
So let's add that figure into the overall figure. When you say get into the work, is that included in the $69,600, or is that in the structural now?
That's in the structural amount.
So that's within $19,650, or not, yeah, $19,650? Or is that going to be in addition to that
No,
possibly?
that was all included.
Okay, so no matter what you encounter, that's going to be sufficient to cover the structural concerns.
I made some assumptions that we'd have to take the stair out, tear the floor up, get down underneath, pour a footing for a couple of posts, push the wall back up, and then.
And the work that your representative, Seth, don't know, when he gets involved in his job, is there a cost associated with that in addition to what we know as far as costs associated with the job right now?
But
Will that be above?
what I gave was a budget, what I thought the cost would be for doing the work.
Okay,
What Seth has done is gone through, he's gone through the house, he's read my report, and he calculated exactly what it's going to cost to do the work.
okay. And that,
You have those two assessments up there. They
okay,
actually came
that's
in
what we
lower.
have here?
Yes, and actually came in under the budget as we sit right now.
Okay.
Is that the 8 December packet we have?
Yes.
8 December, okay.
And I'm sorry, but I did not have a chance to look at that yet.
So if I understand this correctly, the 8 December document is the all-encompassing cost. Is that correct? All-encompassing? Or is that an adder to the 27 November one?
So that is the actual structural portion, that is to do, because it was really two parts to that structural assessment.
Okay.
Of roughly $20,000. These are the two actual proposals to do both of those. And then he has an additional cost to redo the drywall, paint, and trim in that area as well.
So we can do this entire project, if I read this right, total project cost $6,600 plus potential for $4,400 adder?
That would be for the scope of work on that is that wall, interior wall leaning with the chimney. And then there's an additional one, which is about roughly the same cost, which is the stairwell.
Okay.
So we are, I believe we come in at around 18,000 if we were to do everything listed.
And how does that compare against Mr. Fike's initial estimate of,
It's about $1,000 less.
I'm sorry?
It comes out, I think, to me within about $1,000.
And what I do is I provide what I consider a conservative budget for the
Sure.
work. I don't think it should cost more than this.
Right.
What they provided was an actual, this is what it will cost estimate.
Do you put a contingency on top of that, or is that included in this?
Anything that's required is included.
So is there a contingency? 20%, 10% on top of these numbers?
Nothing on top, that's everything, that number is all,
So if you find anything unforeseen,
sorry for your luck.
I'm sorry?
Sorry for your luck. You took the job, whatever the costs are, that's what it's going
You
to cost.
absorb the cost, is that what you're saying?
That's what happens, yes.
Yeah, okay. You provide a number, this is the number.
That's
We're going
correct.
with the project. You find something that is extraordinary. You're not going to be renegotiating.
Well, first off, he also was including things that he doesn't know are there. So he's doing exactly what I had, in my report, had said we needed to do, which was tear the stairs out, get under the floor, pour a foundation, put some posts in, jack the wall back up, and then rebuild the stairs.
Okay.
So we don't think there's anything else that could be there. Quite
Yeah.
honestly, it may be that once they get in there, there'll be less.
Okay. All right. $57,700 is the maximum amount available for this, to move forward on this? Is that what I understand?
No, she has a lien. This board asked for some kind of financial viability. She went and received a loan from Huntington Bank, and they approved her right off the bat for $57,000.
Okay.
So, but at that juncture, there is a substantial amount of repairs that can be done for $57,000, and all of that includes, it's more than double what's for the structural. I believe that Mr. Fike gave an estimate for between $80,000 and $90,000 for 100% restoration on the property. But that, I don't know if necessarily 100% restoration is necessary to make the house habitable.
And is it the intent then to fix up both of these units to make them both habitable for occupancy then? Is that the intent?
I do believe so. At this juncture, my client wants to comply with what this board wants to see out of the property. And then if she either continues to rent it out or if she sells it to somebody else, she'll make a determination at that point in time. But she's looking to make the effort to fix this property so it at least gets to a sellable state so that everybody will be satisfied that this house isn't going to be a violation, a walking violation, or a hazard to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What I would like this board to consider is, the bike group can't start until March, is that we were to kick this 90 days from today, let them do this $20,000 in repairs and see where actually we're at with the property at that point in time. And then we can reconvene and review where we're at. And to see if any of the condemnation would be at that point in time removed, appropriately to remove it at that juncture.
Well, I think another thing we need to take into consideration is the fact that it's got a deteriorated garage that everyone seems to believe needs to come down. I think that's something that would have to be incorporated into the immediate plan to get that underway and get it out of there, regardless. You own the property, you knew that when you bought it, I believe you did, that this existed. It was in terrible shape, according to report, and the recommendation is to have it removed.
So if this board would like to see that removed before any consideration, I think that that would be fine and reasonable, because no one is disputing that this garage needs to come down. We just haven't been able to touch the property while these proceedings are going on.
Sure.
I don't think that that's an unreasonable request from this board.
Okay. Anybody have any questions?
You covered. No, I don't have any questions. I think you covered it.
I guess I do have one.
Go ahead.
Did I hear you that say that you're willing to take a $20,000 investment at this time, a risk? And with the possibility of the board saying demo it at a later date? Is that what I heard?
I mean, partially, but at the end of the day, it would just be determined how the board got to that determination to make that judgment. But we think that once we do these initial repairs, that there won't be a reason for condemnation.
Yeah. My concern is if you do that kind of an investment, and indeed you discover that you cannot continue, and that's quite a loss.
Well, my client's already looking at a $30,000 loss if you throw in the purchase of the price of the property, paying the taxes, and then the fact that she's going to be stuck with a demolition cost on this.
Mm-hmm.
So she's already in the hole for $30,000. The only way forward for her is to actually fix this property to a point that the board is going to be acceptable to her proceeding with it. That's one heck of a loss that she's looking at already.
Sure.
As we sit here, she's in up $30,000.
Right.
And the initial repair that you're referencing is going to involve the foundation concerns? Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah.
So you'll know at that point whether or not it's $20,000 well spent or not. Yes.
Correct. You know, the reality of what's going to happen is if you give them their 90 days, they do the work, you're going to have to, Mr. Tom's going to have to go back through and reevaluate it. If they fix these problems, it no longer fits your criteria as being a property that needs to be demolished.
Sure.
That's true.
Sure. Okay. Board? Anybody want to make a recommendation?
I don't know the legal jargon. I would like for us to let them proceed. So how do I say that? Dismiss the demo? Or say what I just said?
Making a motion to table it for 90 days.
Okay. I would like to make a motion that we table this for 90 days and see where we're at with the inspector being part of the 90-day process to see what's going on. And you bring a recommendation back to the board?
Do that. After 90 days, just have them contact me, and then I'll go out, do a reassessment.
I think 90 days is not enough time. They can't even begin the work until March.
I was thinking,
Working inside.
I was thinking of the demolition of the garage. Is that what we said?
Right.
Well, that's my motion. Let's see if it dies for a second, and then I'll rephrase it.
So we have a motion on the floor. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
We have a second.
Okay.
Discussion.
If I could interject.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Fight contractors can't start the work until March.
I understand that.
So
You
it
were,
won't be done in your 90-day time period.
you were looking for an extension up to March to begin the process, where you would come in and begin doing your assessment.
Correct.
So we're talking 180 days.
Would make more
Right.
sense.
Would you like to,
Amend.
would you like to amend your motion to
Yes.
extend that to 180 days?
I would like to amend my motion to extend it to 180 days.
And one clarification request, I'm sorry. Are we going to demo the garage
Yeah.
in 90 days, 180 days?
I can't answer.
No, I'm looking at my board members here and looking around. Can somebody commit?
If we're coming back in 180 days, why don't we just have everything done within the 180 days? The inspection will come in, at that point in time, you can do a reassessment of where the property is at that juncture in time. And at the 100-day mark, we'll have both the repairs done and the garage demolished.
That certainly sounds agreeable.
Yeah.
We have a second, do we have a second on the motion then?
A second on the amendment?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Roll call?
Mr. Gundelsberger?
Yes.
Mr. Matthews?
Yes.
Ms. Warner?
Yes.
Mr. Shara?
Thank you.
Motion passes. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
I guess I missed that meeting. I missed a couple.
Thank you, board, have a good day.
Thank you.
You as well, thank you.
First one was
First one, 130. The attorney,
tell them that he said.
you know,
No, I don't know. I gotta be a bunch of
but we need to get this stuff before, you know.
Okay, we're going to move on to to new business.
We have case number EN 20-1688. OP 76 Enterprises, Inc. is appealing the notice and order of demolition for 917 Jackson Extended, Sandusky, Ohio, 44870, parcel number 58-01917-000.
It appears that we don't have a representative.
So,
Excuse me?
yeah.
There's nobody here for the property.
Yeah, there's no one here for the property. I mean, I will continue with the presentation, but there's no one here except other citizens who would like to speak.
We can just. It's your turn to make the motion.
Did they step out in the hallway to,
They
they're
didn't show
gone?
up at all.
Not show up.
No one was here at all.
MIA. We want
Okay.
to push it,
Well,
go ahead and do it.
I'll second Walt's motion.
Oh, I didn't make no motion.
Oh, I thought you said.
is there someone here that wanted to speak on behalf of this project?
Not on behalf of it, but our neighbors.
In opposition to it?
Yes.
Okay, why don't you come?
We're not opposing the demo.
I said that
We're supporting
wrong.
the demo.
You want to come up and speak about it? How's that? Come on up.
You guys read your packets, right? So, okay.
Yeah, we could go ahead and demo this. I think.
Angie.
Sean and Linda Carroll, we live at 919 Jackson Extension, right next door to Orlando Pace's property. We've lived at our property for about 32 years and have witnessed the property go downhill. He hasn't owned it the whole entire time that we were there. We had sent a letter out. I'm not sure, did they get the letter?
I'm sorry, Chairperson Dana Gamblin received the letter only in preparation of them being here tonight.
Okay.
I didn't give it to everyone.
Okay, so we'll just kind of cover that letter.
Okay.
There were amazing people that have lived at the property, and every single one has had to move out because he was just absent. He wouldn't do any repairs. There was a lot of plumbing issues. And the property has probably sat vacant for 6 or 7 years. Minimum.
That has, the gas company's taken off the gas lines, the electric company's taken off the
Meter.
the meter, so there's no electricity going. The water has been shut off for who knows how long, at least 5 years. There is a sewer line crack, so we've had to deal with a sinkhole because
In between the two properties.
between the two properties. The foundation is so bad, you can literally look into the basement.
That picture on the top left, it's actually gotten worse since Angie has taken that picture. That piece is now laying on the ground, and I could stick my whole body in there. We see possums, raccoons, cats go in and out, and they're in our yard, they're in our trees. It's just, and it doesn't surprise me that he hasn't shown up today because
He's an absentee landlord, he's
yeah,
absentee
and
mayor.
it bothers us that Orlando was a great kid. We knew him when he was growing up. And the success that he's had, and he's in the Football Hall of Fame, I mean, it's great that everything, and to do this, to just turn your back on a property. And when we heard that he was appealing it because he wanted more time, that was just such a joke to us because it's been years and years and years where he's just done nothing. And how can you say that you need more time when there aren't even utilities at your property? So we just wanted to.
And currently, there are two houses on either side of that, on one side of us and the other side of his property, and they're all in the midst of a renovation. One was a complete gut job, and the other got new paint and roof and everything. So the whole neighborhood is being fixed up like we were in the middle of on the tail end of a kitchen renovation. We're finally being able to use
So there
our
are
kitchen.
people on our street that care about the neighborhood and are trying to improve the neighborhood, and then that sits right in the middle of it.
And we've been in contact with the city for,
I went back through my emails last night, and the first email was 2016. There's been a lot of different people in code that we've talked to, but,
you know, we called before the emails, you know.
yeah. So it's been years of frustration for us living next to this. Does anyone have any questions about it, or we could?
Well, I have a comment that I want to make, that I want on the record. I did some investigating on this as well. Under this name, OP 76, there's 25 properties that I see. And this particular property has outstanding tax payments of $972.64 as of today. The total number of these 25 and 5 others comes up to $56,863.52. And the bothersome part of this number to me, as a taxpayer who pays his taxes on time, the main benefactor of these property taxes in this case is the Sandusky City School System, who is missing out on $32,870.94 right now. One other property in Perkins Township is delinquent, and that property is, the Perkins School Systems is missing out on $3,264.04. That is wrong.
And
Sorry, that is wrong.
The city, the school has named a street after
Yeah.
a guy that will not give them
In
their
the
money.
park. Yeah.
So I appreciate your coming in and speaking, but
We appreciate you taking this serious. We were super excited to hear that it was actually, you know, when we saw the yellow tag, we were like, oh my God, like he calls me, oh my God, there's a yellow tag. And then when we hear like it's actually set for demo, and then Angie lets us know that he's appealing it, and are you kidding me? How can you?
And the foundation repairs are going to be
Yeah.
astronomical. I mean, we had to repair our foundation 5 years ago, and it's just a small
It was a small section.
8-foot by 12-foot section of the house, and that was $12,000 to have it torn out and replaced. And it was not, you couldn't see into the basement. You know, we just had cracks.
And you know,
So-
he's gone through different management companies. That's the interesting thing too, is he has family members try and manage it for him. And then
He hires-
they stepped away, and then he's hired two different people that we know of that have tried to get a hold of him to get things moving, and he's absent with them. And so they've just walked away. So I don't know. I don't know if you want to say anything, Mike?
My name is Mike Anders. I live at 739 West Park Street, Sandusky. I'm just going to concur with everybody. You know, that the tax part I didn't know about. I'm sure that people see me walking my dog all over town. I live a block away from this property, so it indirectly impacts me in that I live a block away, but it directly impacts me because this is my neighborhood. I live here. I've set down roots here. I like my neighbors. I like the people around me. I do not like what has happened to that property and the other properties in my neighborhood like that. It's beyond dereliction of duty. So anyway, that's all I'd like to say.
And can I also add that it's becoming a safety issue over the years. We found, and we didn't really know what they meant at the time, we found burnt spoons on the porch and in the front of the house. We have found syringes, empty liquor bottles, beer cans.
Last summer, there were kids climbing the roof. I mean,
There's a tree
Yeah.
growing out of the side of the house.
yeah, I
Yeah,
think you
okay.
scrolled through that one picture where there was
Yeah,
like a
it's
tree.
literally growing out of the side of the house.
That's actually my concern when I drove by today, and I apologize, the picture I took is not clear. The part that's laying on the sidewalk, who did that? Was it kids pulling, I mean, like,
Right.
was there
There's
kids
that.
involved
We
in
don't know
this?
if they pull out if it just fell out. I mean.
Yeah, it's possible it just fell, it must have rolled, I mean, it rolled.
We look and
So-
we just see it more and more every time we go.
Right.
Take the trash out, so.
We don't want the neighborhood children, because there are kids right there on Center Street that
Yes.
haze all the time, and we don't want them
Yes.
to accidentally get hurt.
And also, you can see the back door window had to have been boarded up because people
Talking all
were
day.
Oh, it's boarded,
trespassing
yeah.
Talk all
inside.
night.
And the windows were boarded.
We got it.
okay, well, thank you very
Yes,
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, since he's not here and he don't care, we might as well go ahead and thing now. What do you think?
Motion.
Okay.
And what's the feeling of the board?
I guess just for the record, is it possible to walk through your presentation quickly? Just so we have it in there. I'd like to see it.
Go through your presentation.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I should have said.
Today, we have the Housing Appeals Board meeting for 917 Jackson Street Extension. This was picked up by Ken Nixon, who took over Brad Ling's open case on September 22nd of '21. The property had still the original violations, nothing had been done. He attempted to contact the owner and/or responsible party to check the status of the residence. Those are per his notes.
You're fine, keep going. I'm just gonna help
Okay.
you out here. Take you up to slideshow. This will present a larger appearance for the board.
Oh, okay. Okay. Can you hear me now? All right, so September 27th of '21, a call was placed to a public service number that we had obtained per Ken's notes, and then the number went straight to a voicemail with a Hispanic-speaking recording, so he obviously didn't make contact with anybody that day. November 9th, Linda Carroll, a neighbor to the south, granted permission to go to the property to see the rear of the residence. At that time, there was too many trees grown up, same violations. August 15th was actually my first day back in code. I got a call from Carol. She advised there were still animals going in through the hole in the foundation, and along with other nuisance and trash laying in the yard. So in August 22nd of this year, the property was posted for high weeds and trees. No hole was seen at that time because of all the trees, which you'll see in a minute. We then, on August 26th and August 30th, checked the property. They hadn't been removed, so there was a search warrant executed August 31st, and that was to remove all the nuisance from the property, the side and the backyards. A search warrant was executed by Officer Ronte Morton Hill. This is what it looked like. So we couldn't see the hole and what was going on with the property until we started cleaning. And then you can clearly see that the foundation is separated from the sill plate. Underneath the door as well has slipped off, and there's a large enough hole for, a rat can get in about a 50-cent piece, and that is about 5 or 6 times that size.
Excuse me, did you say we cleaned? We as a city went in and cleaned? You said we cleaned, yeah?
We, as a city, code enforcement,
Okay, so is the property owner assessed that bill for that?
yes, assess that bill, right. And then if they don't pay it, it goes to the county taxes, which we have already discussed. So on the south side, when you look at it, that piece now on the top left corner is now what's in the sidewalk area. It was only barely hanging on when we were there. From the back of the house is what the other light, and I actually have a picture that is not on here, where I have a clipboard that I carry. My entire clipboard fits in that hole, just to give you a size of how big it is. Again, we're looking from the west, straight on, the south to the right. Other, non-waterproof issues, they're not weatherproof, watertight, no downspouts, no electric meter, no gas, there's not even a gas line. Apparently, when Columbia Gas fixed the area, they just decided that this was a vacant house.
They told us that if there's no gas for 3 years, they consider it abandoned and they remove the line.
Yep. But you can see on the top right that also is affecting that entire doorway, that structural failure. Boarded doors, boarded windows, again, animals can get in that. There's beer bottles, because this has been obviously a place where some nuisance people and maybe some transit people have been there doing things that they should not be doing. There was a shed in the back that had items like spoons and foil, et cetera. This was the abatement that we cut the items and put it on the trailers. We do that with our part-time people. We go and cut down trees, pick up trash, and it's just, the bottom is the abatement picture, which shows clearly that the foundation is exactly what the Carrolls complained, open. 2 very large holes were visible in this search warrant. On the southwest corner, a large portion of the foundation appears to have moved away from the sill plate and the structure. The door frame has been damaged and shipped off the foundation. The property was condemned on September 9th, and condemnation letters were sent. Pictures of the condemnation letter and the sign. This is where I sent it to him on the 9th, and where he picked it up on the 13th. October 12th, another search warrant was conducted this time to allow Scott Tom the opportunity to give us a percentage deteriorated. He went in, gave us 56.55% deteriorated, no gas line is present, there's no water, no electric, The water's been off since 2014. This is just a gaping hole, and the platform there is not attached on two sides at all. Open window to the back, we didn't see from the outside, just elements, open the elements, so that just expedites the deterioration. There's a wood wall down in the basement that has electric attached to it. It's in failure. Here's where, it's hard to see in the picture, but the whole left side is disconnected and failing. We had to walk on the right side, and even then it was collapsing. Officers standing there could flex upon it. Feces covering, again, just validating that the Carrolls have witnessed animals coming in, feces all over every room. Damage to the floor, material had collapsed from roof damage. More ceiling collapse. More feces and damaged walls and floors. Wall damage from water damage. The bathroom could not be inspected because it was blocked by a refrigerator, but you could see that it was just filled with feces all over the floor. Okay, so the holes in the foundation not only allow animal access to the residence, it also makes the structure open to the elements, expediting the deterioration process. Exterior structural issues are there, interior structural issues are there. There's no utilities, gas, water, or electric. Damaged ceilings, walls, and floors. Some windows and doors are boarded, some are missing, and open to the elements. There's Mr. Tom's report. And that's the notice in order of demolition. A lot of that was, we sent it to the state. There was state collections. John, an uncle, and Mrs. John, who were not really affiliated with it, but because they were connected to the LLC, they had to be notified as well. The demo letter was received on October 22nd. That one was on the 21st. John Pace came to the office on the 21st advising that his wife was not affiliated. He's married to her, that's why we had to obviously contact them. Orlando Pace left messages on Trica's, and my phone referenced the demo letter. I left a message advising our shift ends soon, and I would call him back on Monday. Orlando called again Friday. I received the call on Monday, and I left a message on his phone. Mr. Pace called and discussed his intent to appeal. An appeal form was emailed to him on October 31st. Mr. Pace inquired why we didn't contact his management company. Ken Nixon advised in his notes that management company was not responsive any longer due to non-payment. He advised he would call the number and that Hispanic-speaking message was received. He left a message with no callback. It is our procedure to contact the owner. The owner then can contact whoever needs to make the repairs. But please note that the owner received the condemnation letter and did not contact us about this prior to the demo. There's the appeal. His reasonings are he lives out of state. He would like a chance to have his contractors inspect the property. He'd like to know the criteria for the 56 damaged, 56% damaged, and he would also like to know why demolition is needed. It's my recommendation that this notice of demolition be upheld due to the extensive damage of the residence, no utilities, vacant and unmaintained, and that the nuisance has been a neighborhood nuisance for many, many years.
Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. What's the feeling of the board?
I motion that we demolition the 917 Jackson Street extension.
I'll second
Motion on
that.
the floor and a second. All in favor, if you could have roll call, please.
Mr. Gondelsberger?
Yes.
Mr. Matthews? Mrs. Warner?
Yes.
Mr. Sherratt?
Yes.
So moved. Thank you for attending.
The next case on the docket and the last case is EN 22-2010. Arthur Overton is appealing the notice and order of violation for 1022 4th Street, Sandusky, Ohio, 44870, parcel number 57-00256-000.
Ron Snyder, Code Compliance Officer for the City of Sandusky. And as Mrs. Parker had indicated, this is concerning the property at 10224 4th Street. On October 10th of 2022, I was looking into another property that was in the area. This time I noted a garage to the rear of 1022 4th Street. It had a number of violations to include no gutters, no downspouts. There was loose vinyl siding on the south side of the garage that was hanging loose, and there was deteriorated wood under the vinyl, basically giving an indication the vinyl had been loose for some time. And now the weather was getting to that wood, so it was starting to have a weathered appearance or a deteriorating appearance to it. These are photos that were taken on that date. The left upper photo, you can see where that vinyl is starting to come loose in a number of different areas. The gutter is missing from the upper right photo, and then the photo at the bottom is just another indication of the vinyl coming loose on that south side. Notice of violation was sent to the homeowner, Mr. Overton. And on October 19, 2022, I received a phone call from Mr. Overton, and we had a conversation. He voiced his discontent in receiving the violation letter, advising his residence was over 100 years old and that there was no reasoning for gutters and downspouts. On October 20th, we again had a conversation, claimed the gutters and downspouts served no purpose, and he questioned why no one else had brought the issue forward until now. I explained to him that I had no answer for that. Why this was not anything that was noted by any previous code inspectors. Really only at that point, with his feeling he didn't need that, he was explained what the appeals process would be. He had mentioned the fact he had no means of transportation, so I basically took out to his residence an appeals form and placed it in his mailbox for him. On October 24th, I made contact with Mr. Overton after he had left a voicemail. He asked about recommendations for getting the work done to the garage and explained to him we can't give personal references or personal recommendations. However, I could get him a list of our general contractors certified by the building department. So that was when I had a copy was made. And again, I went ahead and transported them out and placed them in his mailbox for him. On October 25th, he had filed for the motion of appeal. There was a little question. The form was sent in. There was a lapse there. He had forgotten to place the check in. He was granted the opportunity on November 10th. He went ahead and paid that fee, and subsequently we're here tonight for him to give his side. So,
Okay. Is there someone here? Mr. Overton?
Yes.
You want to step to the microphone, please?
I like to sleep.
Again, if you just give us your name and your address, please.
As Arthur Overton, Overton, at 1022 4th Street.
Thank you.
Right. Well, the reason I'm here today, and I've got pictures of it, is that, like he said, I mean, that building's been there for 108 years. It was built in 1914. There's never been an issue with gutters on a detached garage that's in in an alley. And there's nowhere for that water to go. I mean, it's better the way it is right now because it won't run into my neighbor's garage, and I'll show you on the pictures. But there's no street gutter, there's no storm drains, there's nowhere for the water to go when it comes out of a downspout, except it's going to go right over to my neighbor's garage. And I've just got pictures on my phone. I hope that's all right.
I'm curious, where does water runoff go right now?
It runs off the side of my, well, you know, off the roof.
Off the roof?
It is spread out over the length of my garage must be about over 20 feet long. And there's only like an 8-foot space in between my garage and my neighbor's garage. On the other side, there's nothing, just a yard. So, and I mean, if you look up and down my alley, nobody has a downspout going 4 feet away from the building because my neighbor put it on there, his gutters, because of the same thing I'm going through. And the first night they ran over it. So now he's got a light there, he's got a big rock there. So, I mean, it's just, why put gutters on that garage when it's going to do absolutely no good for anybody? Like the national code doesn't require gutters on a separate garage, a detached garage. And there's a reason for that, I think. No, that's the code, but there's there's variances and stuff. But if I could show you here what I'm dealing with my neighbor. Okay. Okay, that's, come on. Never wants to work right. Here we go. I got it. Okay, that's, I don't know if you can see it or not. But that's the distance between my neighbor's garage and my garage. There's less than 10. Yes, always go to the right. There's not enough room to put a downspout towards my neighbor's garage, so everything's going to have to go out into the alley. And there's really not a lot of percolation out that alley. And the water's going to go out into the alley, go around. There's a picture on there where my neighbor had to put all this grass and dirt and stuff in front of his garage door. And then he had another bar, like a dam, to keep the water from going into his garage. Since he put his downspout out, he had to build the one right up against the garage door, because the water coming out of the downspout goes right into his garage.
What can we do to help you get this out the way? You got no gutters, no downspout, roof, vinyl siding.
Why would you put them on there? For what purpose?
Because of the code.
Well, yeah,
Sir.
but there's exceptions. I mean, maybe the code should be changed in Columbus.
Where's yours?
Maybe the code should be changed in Columbus, because the national code doesn't require gutters on a detached garage that doesn't have a place for the water to go. The gutters are supposed to either go into a pipe, like once on a house and they go into a drain pipe, or they're supposed to drain into the street that has street gutters and storm drains. There's nothing there available for the water to go.
Well, we have to be in compliance with all codes.
There's variances. So what's my neighbor gonna do? He's gonna have to, I don't know. I mean, in a way, nobody has it. You're gonna go and give everybody a citation on that whole thing. Not one person on that alley has a 4-foot downspout except my neighbor.
Majority of your neighbors, we had this discussion over the telephone, you made it very clear to me that one of your neighbors does not like me very much because he got written up as well. You weren't the only person within that public access way that received the initial.
Oh, I understand. There's a lot of people. Well, you could give everybody everybody on that street except my one next door neighbor a violation, because they're all in violation. Everyone, because none of them have a downspout, because they all get run over and destroyed.
The only answer that I would have for them is that they need to redirect it in another
Right.
direction. It needs to be redirected in another
Where am I
direction.
going to put it? I can't put it between my garage, his garage.
Of course not. You
I
wouldn't
can't
want
put it
that.
between my neighbors. They have to go in my backyard, and then I got a trip hazard for us old folks, the woman I live with. You know, we go out there at night and stuff, and it's got a downspout sticking out.
That would probably be something that I would refer you to the professionals and install.
I mean, the only way I do it is put out into the thing. And another thing is, why now? Well, we got all this inflation, I'm gonna fix it. The economy's going down the drain, and I got no money. I mean, I had to pay $400 to get my electric fixed with a storm. Pulled my wire down. I'm on a fixed income, I'm a veteran, you know, I was a wartime vet, honorably discharged. And why now with this petty stuff? Why not, you know, it's petty.
Do you remember me asking you in concerns to serving our seniors?
Pardon me?
Do you remember us having a conversation about serving our seniors? About there's a program with serving our seniors that help
Yeah.
folks that are a day or so over the age of 29. And then you have the Community Action Commission as well. There's programs out there that can help you.
Well, I'm sure there are. But why? Why is it necessary?
Because it's cold, sir.
I understand that. But you can change the law in
But we can't
I mean,
change it.
somebody should take a look at that, because
We can't change it that quickly, and I
I
think the
know.
main point is it's cold. and we-
But there are variances, aren't there?
I don't know about variances. I don't think that comes
Mr.
aboard
Overton.
this
Yes.
committee.
Let me ask you about this. What is your feeling about the garage having loose vinyl siding?
I'm going to fix that. I mean, it
But
was
why?
hanging down, now
But
it's
why? That's my question. Why are you fixing that?
Why am I fixing it?
Yeah.
Because it looks bad.
Why aren't you fixing the gutters and downspouts? that you
It doesn't
don't
have anything to do with the
It
beautification.
has everything to do with the maintenance of the environmental health housing code.
How?
I'm sorry?
I mean, how does concentrating the water from that square footage on the roof into two downspouts, how does that help the environment? There's going to be puddles you can see there, and the water has nowhere to go. There's no storm drains, there's no gutters, and there's no percolation back there on that.
And the deteriorating wood, you're going to correct that as well?
That's already done.
That's great. I'm glad to hear that. But we have to,
There's a reason for that, because I mean, that's bad with deteriorating wood. I don't want my whole garage to get deteriorated.
What caused the deterioration, sir?
It was cheap wood, number one. That was just a piece of plywood up there.
A lot of it would have to do with
Moisture, too.
improper roof drainage as well.
There's nothing to do with roof.
We can't.
How does it come down the front of it?
Yeah, we can't pick and choose what we're going to do. It's all in violation of the code, sir.
Well, then how am I going to pay to get my gutters fixed? And
He
I
might
called
just
4 or
serve
5
our seniors.
contractors, they won't even come out to look at mine, because they want big jobs. Oh, I got 20 guys working here, I got 30 guys working there on these jobs. They don't want a piddly little job like that, so it's hard to get somebody to come out and do it, because I don't know how I'm going to pay for it.
Okay, so
Between mortgage and my grocery bills doubled here, I think, pretty close to doubled.
we have.
Gas is up unbelievable.
I sympathize with you. We have no control over those costs.
I know that, but somebody should take it. It isn't like a life or death situation because there's water coming off of my roof. It's not going to help anything. It's just going to make a big puddle in the alley. You know, why would it be this time?
What's the feeling of the board?
So, you said there's no penalty. So what do we do, just give him 30 days to get it fixed?
Well,
If I may?
he's under an initial time constraint to get it completed, and is he beyond that at this point?
He is. Usually when someone files a motion for the Housing Appeals Board, basically everything stops. No more inspections, right, until they have an opportunity to come in and speak to the board and get the consensus or to see what the board's opinion would be on this issue. We're into a point now to where we're into the winter, right, this winter weather. So as I've been doing with others, his ultimate date would be pushed out till April, May-ish timeframe. That way, If
I just-
nothing else, it allows for him to put a plan of action together, possibly contact some folks, maybe get an application into Serving Our Seniors or to the CAC. And then we look and see where we're at. If there's estimates, things of this nature, we can work with him on timelines because we got a better guarantee that the work is going to be done. So,
Mr. Overton, you heard the presentation tonight. There are funds available if you are
Yes.
able to apply for funding. So
Well, I get it, Social Security and a small service-connected disability.
I understand that. I'm telling you that there's funding available
Mm-hmm.
if you are able to get in line for it. But we don't, if you're asking us to waive this, that is unfair to anyone else that we've enforced the very same thing upon.
It'll be a lot fairer to the people that are coming up. I mean, if you gave everybody a citation for having no gutters or no downspouts or not 4-foot downspouts, you're going to be giving everybody in that alley. Now, here's the alley. I mean, take a look at it. It's just dirt, gravel. I mean, there's nothing, nowhere for the water to go. So everybody's water is going out in the alley. It's going to just.
Well, let me ask you, where is all this snowfall gone that's collected recently?
Where to what, the snow?
All the snowfall that's gone, where's that all gone to?
That's just gone out. It's melting off. It's in puddles on the road.
Puddling is normal.
There's no drainage there on that road.
But puddling is normal. Drainage occurs eventually over time.
Well, I mean, the water's just going to make the puddling worse. I mean, it's going to destroy the alley more than it's already destroyed. And I guess I'm responsible for half of the alley. According to Ken here, I think his name's Ken, isn't it?
Ron.
Ron.
I'd like to make a motion, if I
Go
could.
ahead.
I'd like to make a motion that we give Mr. Overton 120 days. That'd be April, right, about the 1st of April, to take a look at this. And I highly encourage you, Mr. Overton, to talk to Deb Ebersol. She was just here earlier before.
Yes.
Just get your application in to see if you can qualify from some funding from the city, as well as contact Serving Our Seniors. I'm familiar
Yeah,
with
I've
Serving Our
contacted.
Seniors, and they have the ability to help people out in your situation.
Uh-huh.
I'd recommend you contact them. They can actually provide you I believe they have a list of contractors that they have worked with previously that have had good experience. And they're all at the lower end of the scale.
All right.
So I'd heartily encourage you to make that phone call if you could to Serving Our Seniors.
I've called the senior. They want me to call them after this is over to see
Yeah.
what happened.
So I'd make a motion to go ahead and revisit this in 120 days, which would be the
We have
first.
a motion on the floor. Is there a second? Second.
Yes.
We have a roll call, please?
Mr. Gondelsberger,
Yes.
Mr. Matthews,
Yes.
Ms. Warner,
Yes.
Mr. Sharrah.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Okay, can I ask one quick question? How do I go about changing that? I mean, how can you change that law? Like, be in compliance like with the national?
It is in the national code that you have to use first water 4 feet away.
It's a pen again. Oh.
Pen.
International.
It's international
Yes,
code.
what?
Yeah, they don't require it.
You got, oh, you got one.
it would be international, then it would be state,
Anything with a
Ohio
foundation.
residential.
Right, state.
Right, and then basically.
But the international code, I
No,
whatever it is.
You know what we need to
It's
think
anything
about?
that has a foundation. Now, if you have gravel in your garage and you don't have
Something,
concrete.
you know, I
you use
actually,
gravel,
after they,
that's
after a while, they're not saying
No,
anything.
that's a
He
foundation.
just repeats it. Yeah, hey, I come up with it.
Okay, we have no other business. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion is here, motion.
Second?
Motion and I.
Yes.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Our next meeting is January 31st.